Hola clase, bienvenidos. Hoy vamos a repasar el verbo gustar. Okay, so the topic for today is going to be indefinite and definite articles and the verb gustar. Both of these concepts will look familiar to you. We learned them in the first semester of Spanish 1. So let's start with indefinite articles. You see here in blue that indefinite articles are used to say a, an, or some in Spanish. On your note guide, please take a minute to fill in this chart. You'll notice that un and una mean a or an. The difference between them is gender. So if you want to say a book, un libro. If you wanted to say a class, una clase. Unos and unas mean some. Again, the difference between them is gender. Okay, so if you were saying some books, unos libros, some classes, unas clases. Okay, let's work through a few practice problems to make sure you remember indefinite articles. You see here we have 5 problems, and you're going to be writing un, una, unos, or unas in the blanks to answer these translations. So in number 1, we're trying to say a book. Would you say un or una? Obviously, libro is masculine, so our answer is un libro. Okay, please pause me, work numbers 2 through 5, and then we'll check your answers. Okay, repasemos. Let's go over what we got. A cookie, una galleta. A pencil, un lápiz. You may have had a little bit of problems remembering, is lápiz masculine or feminine? Okay, that's just one of the words you're going to have to memorize. You know, it's easy when the word ends in O or A, but on lápiz, we'll know that it's a masculine singular noun. Some potatoes, unas patatas, and some soft drinks, unos refrescos. Okay, let's move on to definite articles. As you can see here in blue, definite articles are used to say the in Spanish. On your note guide, please fill in your chart here. El and la mean the. El is masculine singular. La is feminine singular. Los and las, they also mean the. The difference between all of these, los is masculine plural and las is feminine plural. Okay, let's do some more practice examples, just like we did with the indefinite articles. Look here at the 5 problems. We're going to do number 1 together. In number 1, I'm trying to say the books. Which one of these 4 words, because they all mean the, which one of these matches libros? We need something masculine plural. So hopefully you wrote down los libros. Okay, please pause me, work numbers 2 through 5, and then we'll check our answers. Okay, repasemos. Número 2, the fruits, las frutas. 3, the music, la música. 4, the friend, el amigo. You could tell here for with friend, I wanted the masculine singular version because I put amigo, not amiga. And lastly, number 5, la clase. Again, clase, not easy to tell its gender. One of them you're going to have to memorize. La clase, feminine singular noun. Okay, let's move on to the verb gustar. As you can see here, gustar means to like. And it was one of the very first verbs we learned in Spanish 1. Remember that gustar is not a normal verb. You can't simply drop the AR and add o, as, a, almost as, or almost ice on, excuse me. It's kind of a backwards verb, okay? And it's used with indefinite articles. So let's take a look at that, and I'll explain to you more of what I mean by a backwards verb. Okay, you may need to pause me here to fill out this chart. I know it's rather lengthy. Okay, hopefully you got this copied down. Let's go over it briefly. A mí me gusta or a mí me gustan means I like. A ti te gusta or a ti te gustan means you like. A él le gusta, a él le gustan, he likes. A ella le gusta, a ella le gustan, she likes. A usted le gusta, a usted le gustan, you, formal, likes, or like. A nosotros nos gusta, a nosotros nos gustan, we like. A vosotros os gusta, a vosotros os gustan, you all like in Spain. A ellos les gusta, a ellos les gustan, they like. A ellas les gusta, a ellas les gustan, they like. And lastly, a ustedes les gusta, a ustedes les gustan, you all like. Okay, so let's talk about some of the details and tricky parts to this verb gustar. First up, subject pronouns, which are written here in blue. Remember that they're optional. That's why I put them in parentheses. And they're typically used to add emphasis. So you can say, me gusta leer, meaning I like to read, or a mí me gusta leer. Both are correct, purely optional. Okay, bullet point number 2. This was tricky for us as English learners or English speakers. When you like a noun, make sure you include the word the el, la, los, or las, even if you can't hear it in English. An example on that, say you were saying, I like books. Many of us last year would say, me gustan libros. Thinking that's correct, but you've got to have the definite article here, the los. So it would be for I like books, me gustan los libros. Okay, some other tricky parts of gustar. You need to use the singular version, gusta, if you or someone else likes to do an action. So back to my first example of I like to read, me gusta leer. You also need to use the singular version, gusta, to say you like a singular noun. So if you said, I like Spanish class, which you obviously would say that, you would say, me gusta la clase de español. And then lastly, you would use gustan if you like something plural. Okay, so my second example of I like books, you all noticed then that I said, me gustan los libros. Okay, so many people call this a backwards verb because when you say, me gusta leer, I like to read, you're actually saying reading is pleasing to me. That's why it's a backwards verb. That's why you have gusta or gustan as your only options, and you can't conjugate as o, as, a, almost, is, an. Okay, I have a few more examples down here in green that are going to appear to make sure you get the difference between gusta and gustan. That tricked a lot of people up last year. So, first example, what is me gusta comer? Hopefully you would quickly say, I like to eat. Number 2, what would me gusta el helado? Notice, I like ice cream. And just like we said in bullet point number 2, in English, we don't say I like the ice cream. We typically just say I like ice cream, but we have to have the definite article. And lastly, me gustan las galletas. I like cookies. Cookies was plural, thus gustan needed to be plural. Okay, hopefully that refreshed your memory on gustar. Let's do a few practice questions. I left the chart up there for your convenience, so you don't need to flip back and forth. Okay, we'll work through number 1 together. I'll get you started on number 5, and then I want you to pause. Number 1 says, our directions, fill in the blank with the correct form of gustar. 1, you like to watch TV. Okay, so which one of these would we use for you like to watch TV? Okay, hopefully you quickly went to te gusta, but would it be te gusta or te gustan? Okay, to watch TV is singular, it's a action, so you need the singular version, te gusta. Drop down to your translations. I like sports. I will help you out. The word for sports is los deportes. Hopefully you can figure out the rest of the translation. Okay, please pause me, and then we'll review your answers. Okay, repasemos. Number 2, we like Spanish. Nos gusta. 3, Juan likes soft drinks. Le gustan. 4, my friends like books. Les gustan. Okay, first translation, I like sports. Me gustan los deportes. And 6, Eva likes to read. A Eva le gusta leer. Check your answer. We had a lot of people forget this last year. Did you remember the a here? Okay. We talked about at the very beginning of the video that these subject pronouns were optional. And they are. But here in the English translation, I stated the name of the subject. I said Eva. So in my Spanish translation, I need to put Eva. But when I do that, I need this a here. So a Eva le gusta leer. Okay. If you have any additional questions or comments, please write that down on your note guide. You may also see your textbook, page 12. Okay, muchas gracias y que pases un buen noche.